At Luton Airport, they're about to clean something big. It's an Airbus 321, costing £60 million, and with a wingspan almost as big as the Wright brothers' first flight. It's going to be a super-size and super-technical cleaning operation.
Well, what's happening right now is the aircraft being moved into its final position into the hangar.
Over the next 14 days, the 321 will get its big yearly service. They're going to strip it down and check that every system is working exactly right. Absolutely vital is the clean.
The cleaning is really important. Not only the major servicing and everything else that we need to do on the aircraft, cleaning is actually really vital so we can get to see the components we need to see for the inspection.
Every inch of the aircraft has to be inspected, but tiny cracks and defects could be hidden by grime. So job one is to get it clean, starting with the fuselage. 3 men, 1 big plane to clean.
Yeah, I mean, the lower part of the fuselage is always the dirtiest bit. As you can see, Alan's cleaning it at the moment. In his bucket, he's got a bit of a mixture and he's got a polish as well. The polish is basically got grit in it, so when you put your cloth onto the surface and rub it, it'll instantly take off the dirt, which is the effect that you're getting right now.
It's quite hard on the neck sometimes, especially when you've been doing it for 8 hours.
If you don't fancy a stiff neck, there's plenty more fuselage, and it's all cleaned and polished by hand. You need a good head for heights, though.
You're more or less bouncing, if you like, as you're walking along the catwalk here. It's obviously where you're going along, you're looking down, you're thinking, oh no, but nah, it's all right. All harnessed up, no problems.
Over 14 days of cleaning, they'll get through a staggering 60 kilograms of rags. Truly filthy is the only part of the plane that's supposed to come into contact with the ground, the landing gear.
Mostly it's just brake dust and that. I mean, you just imagine how many landings it will do and takeoffs it will do, and every time it lands, obviously we pick stuff up. The whole purpose of this is so the technicians will see if there's any damage or any corrosion. We've tried to be as careful as we can. A lot of these wires are quite valuable and stuff like that. It's a case of a brush, rag, just wash it down and just clean it to the best we can.
Because it's just come off flight, the toilet tank needs emptying. That's done in the usual way from the outside. But all is not well in the toilet system. There's something very unpleasant inside. In the giant service hangar at Luton Airport, Monarch's £60 million Airbus A321 is being stripped and deep cleaned as part of a major service. Every inch has to be cleaned in case the grime is concealing defects that might affect the safety of the aircraft. One area that's filth pure and simple is the toilet system.
Well, this is one of the toilets at the rear of the aircraft, and it's again another job we have to focus on. It's fairly grim, no one really likes doing it. There is an additional payment offered to the employees here for working on toilet systems.
The toilet waste tank is emptied as it is after every flight. A nightmare scenario would be a blockage in any of the toilet system pipes. Using a high-pressure hose, anything stuck in the pipe or coating the inside is blasted out and ends up in the tank. Now they focus on the tank itself.
What they're doing now is taking off the blanking plate at the front of the tank, which stores all the human waste from all the toilets. We're about to fit this adapter plate on there, which we can then fit the cleaning equipment onto that and then use high-pressure water to really clean the inside of that tank out.
You may be wondering how they'll clean inside a sealed metal tank. Someone's invented a cunning device.
This is placed into the water tank, and this tube here will oscillate in and out with a rotating head which will send the high pressure water within the tank and clean the residue from inside the tank walls.
Whatever they do, deposits naturally build up in the system and they have to be flushed out. But it doesn't help when people put the wrong things down the toilets.
The system is it's robust, but then again it's pretty fragile. But unfortunately, things still do end up there, like pens, nappies, and other items that shouldn't make it down there. And the system's just not designed to cope with that, and that's where we get blockages.
The special toilet cleaning thing is removed, but like everything else, the inside of the tank gets inspected to see if it really is clean.
That washing system's got rid of all the nasty deposits in there and all the calcium and limescale buildup that was in this tank, so really, really good job.
Before the engines can get their crucial service, they get cleaned too.
This is one of the engines over here, and basically what we've done is we've opened up the engine, the fan cowls and what we call the sea ducts to give us the access we need to carry out the inspection, and also look for any dirty marks, dirty streaks, because that could be an indication that we may have an oil leak somewhere.
Cleaning inside the engine is awkward, but important. Safety and cleanliness go hand in hand. Back inside the cabin, a component vital for passenger comfort with a rather unpleasant cleanliness problem.
This is the temperature sensor for the rear end of the cabin. It's very important, but very basic. It's human skin that's contained within the aircraft.
That's right, human skin, which circulates through the aircraft's ventilation system.
It's simply cleaned with a brush, soft bristle brush, across the sensing element and the rest of the housing, just like this. As you can see, there is a fair bit of accumulation on there.
But the temperature sensor is not the only place your skin ends up. The rest of the cabin needs a deep clean too. The seat covers are going to be dry cleaned. On this service, the carpet is going to be replaced too, so the seats have to go. With the cabin stripped out, they're going to delve even deeper beneath the aircraft's skin to reveal what grime lies beneath. Behind the doors of its 66-metre hangar at Luton Airport, Monarch are cleaning and servicing an Airbus A321. In the cabin, they're about to reveal the bits you don't normally see.
The seats have been removed, the carpets are up, and we've removed what we call the lower sidewalls, the dado panels. And behind there is normally very, very dirty and dusty because the air will get extracted out from the lower part of the cabin.
The filthy insulation has been picking up dust for months. It has to be cleaned for safety reasons. And because it's really nasty, once again, it's Paul Oakley who gets the dirty job. Dare we ask what the dust mainly consists of?
It's human skin.
Being on an aircraft can make your skin a bit dry and flaky. Now you know where it all ends up.
I reckon by the time we removed all the dust from the aircraft, we probably would have used about 7 Hoover bags.
That's 7 Hoover bags of shed human skin, people. Probably not what you'd expect when you sign up to do aircraft maintenance. If you want proper aircraft dirt, head for the wheel bay.
What we're doing is getting rid of hydraulic fluids, rubbish from the tyres has come off, crap from the runway.
Open during takeoff and landing, the wheel bay is not only the place where the wheels go during flight, but contains some of the aircraft's most important systems. And they're filthy.
I think the trick to doing this job is elbow grease and the right chemicals.
Although we're told about them in every safety briefing, most passengers never get to see an oxygen mask for real. But when they do drop down, you'll be pleased to know that every one of them is nice and clean.
You have to check that the flow valve, as you can see here, it's an anti-return valve, is green, which is a service bulletin that we're doing. We have to check that they're clean, and if not, we actually clean them. We repack them, which is quite an arduous task, which in actual fact takes 2 people to do.
The huge aircraft clean is nearly done. But still to do is the most crucial area of all, the flight deck. In Luton sits a grounded Airbus. In the summer, it will complete 3 to 4 flights a day. But for the past 14 days, it's been going nowhere, subjected to a vital service and clean.
Every minute, every hour the aircraft is on the ground, it's not making money for the airline. So we need to make sure that they're punctual and they're serviceable, and ultimately they're airworthy to take people on their holidays.
Up on the flight deck, Paul Wilcock is about to do one of the most important cleaning operations.
A lot of fingerprints and grime can build up on the screens, and also because the crew often eat in the flight deck, food and the light can drop between the panels and in the switches. As we brush the dirt away from between the panels and around the instruments, we vacuum it up, and it's better to have the dirt and dust vacuumed up than let it drop right down. That was, yeah, probably a bit of biscuit. Sometimes we eat them, sometimes we vacuum them, so depends how hungry we are.
They don't let just anyone loose in the cockpit with a vacuum cleaner.
I'm an engineer, so I not only do flight deck cleaning, I carry out function checks, all the routine work that has to be done on the aircraft. Because we're familiar with the switches in the flight deck, we know how they're supposed to be.
If you've ever had your desk rearranged by a cleaner, it's irritating. On an aircraft, it could be disastrous.
So if a switch or lever is left out of position, it could inadvertently move flight controls, cause things to heat up that it shouldn't do.
The cockpit cleanup is an important moment.
This is the last job that's done, really. This is one of the last jobs that's done before the aircraft goes out the door.
As the 14-day clean and service comes to an end, they tick off some of the big jobs. Remember how grimy the fuselage was?
It's been washed, it's been polished, and the finish on that is now so smooth that it will see some kind of efficiency saving on fuel as that slips through the air. It's so smooth, it's the kind of finish I'd like to have in my car.
Cleaning and servicing an Airbus is a massive job. But how big exactly?
The aircraft's been here 13 days. We've put just under 6,000 man-hours on the aircraft, both day shift and night shift. That's technicians, that's mechanics, that's cleaning teams, to make sure this aircraft got out on time, because there's passengers waiting tomorrow to get onto her. Next one's going to be in tomorrow, and the whole story starts over again.
It's one of the most intensive and technical cleanup jobs there is. But finally, it's complete, and the Airbus is fit once again to take to the skies. Size grind problem. This is the P&O ferry Norbank, continually running the Liverpool to Dublin route. The Norbank's 167-metre-long hull has been underwater for 2.5 years. Unseen, a crust of marine growth has built up. Today, they're going to clean nearly 7,000 square metres of hull. That means getting the Norbank out of the water, so it's into one of Europe's biggest dry docks at the Camel Laird shipyard on Merseyside. Getting 17,000 tonnes of ship perfectly lined up is Graham.
I direct the lads which way they've got to go, left, port, starboard, and that's basically it. But this is like critical part of it. It's got to be spot on.
They're going to drain the dock. Under the water is a set of wooden blocks already in place to support the ship. Graham's job is to make sure it's in exactly the right place. If it misses the blocks, the hull could be severely damaged.
What happens if you get it wrong?
Yeah, I'll have to go to Price Street and sign on.
Graham lines the ship up by eye. The team use ropes to pull the huge ferry into place.
We've still got to adjust, I have to keep telling the lads port and starboard, because it's quite windy today, it moves, so I'll keep telling them which way to pull it. So at the moment we're dead centre, so everything's good at the moment.
In the control room, they're getting ready to pump the water out.
We've got two main pumps which are capable of pumping 78,000 gallons a minute. That's each pump does that. The dock capacity itself holds something like, when it's full, 36 million gallons of water. We're looking at 3 hours today for the pump down.
Basically now we've just got the ship bang in position.
Just going to knock the fan on. Fan on!
With the giant dock gates closed, the dock is pumped down. Finally, the Norbank's hull sees the light of day for the first time in 2.5 years. As expected, it's covered in a grungy crust of barnacles, mussels, and assorted marine life. It has to come off. But for the moment, they can't do anything about it. The Norbank can't be cleaned because it's sitting on nearly 2 acres of mud. It's silt from the Mersey that's flooded in when they last filled the dock. Before they clean the ship, they've got to clean the dock. On Merseyside, the P&O ferry Norbank is out of the water for the first time in 2.5 years. It's not a pretty sight. The huge hull is encrusted with marine life. Seawater inlets are a seething mass of mussels. It's got to be totally cleaned and refitted in just a few days, then back onto the Liverpool-Dublin ferry route. Norbank is sitting in the huge dry dock at the Camel Laird shipyard. Just now, it's anything but dry. The water's gone, but the bottom of the dock is thick with Mersey mud. It's an unavoidable problem. Getting the silt back into the river where it belongs is Paul Bramwell.
When they open the gates, at the bottom, the mud rushes in.
And now they have to wash it back out again using a bit of power, a bit of water, and a lot of muscle.
This is going to take you 8 to 10 hours.
Every one of those hours is an hour when the hull isn't being cleaned.
You do get full of mud, yes.
With the mud gone, the cleaning gear is craned in. Just a few hours ago, the dock was filled with 36 million gallons of water, so every bit of kit has to be dropped in over the side. Finally, the experts can get a look at the underwater ship. In 2007, the Norbank was given a revolutionary non-stick paint system that's supposed to make it hard for marine growth to stick to the hull. Technical manager Hans Pronk is keen to see how it's performing.
You see, it rinses off so easily. It's also, in the total budget cost, will reduce cleaning costs as well. So actually it is a win-win situation for us, this product.
The high-tech paint is looking good. But the many seawater inlets around the ship could be a bigger problem.
As you see, lots of marine growth, like mussels. That's much harder to get off. Yeah, it is really tough. Yeah, and if these mussels sticks into a pump, you get damage to the pumps.
The Norbank uses seawater for engine cooling, adjusting the balance of the ship and the fire safety system. The inlets are great places for mussels to breed. Seawater containing oxygen and food is delivered to their doorstep. So the mussels have to go.
This is a real harder material to remove.
Hans isn't only worried about the mussels he can see. Baby mussels can get through filters and into the engine cooling system, where they grow and block the pipes. There's nothing worse than a mussel in your pipes. But getting rid of them is a huge job. In Merseyside, the team at Camel Laird have to race against the clock to clean the huge grime-encrusted hull of the Norbank. One of the men on the jet washer is Tom. He's not from round these parts.
They take all the moss off and all the barnacles, so it's get ready for painting. You feel it there, you can see that it's slimy. It's just like a moss. You rub it like that, but this ship isn't too bad, to be honest with you. Once we start washing it, it should just come off. It's like a carpet.
The main weapon in cleaning the hull is a high-performance pressure washer. It delivers 1,500 pounds per square inch. Not the sort you'd use on your car.
Oh, just rip your car to bits, to be honest with you. Like, I reckon if you put it, it's that powerful, it would probably cut into that, cut into the mud, into the wood. Dangerous things if you haven't been taught how to use it. Like, people will just think that it's just a basic, everyday job like washing a car, but it's, as you can see, it's not. You know what I mean?
The underwater hull is the biggest part of the job. The high-tech paint means the barnacles come off quickly. But on the waterline, it's a different story.
Up there, it's like a thicker mussel that's going to be harder to come off than that is. That's just like a slime. That's more like a carpet up there. It's like thick. So that's probably going to be the worst part.
The Norbank was launched in 1993, and is constantly assaulted by sea life on the 8-hour return trip between Liverpool and Dublin.
3 starfish here, just fell out of one of the tanks at the bottom. There's all kinds of stuff in there, crabs and everything, fish, all kinds.
As well as being rid of all unwelcome marine visitors, she'll be painted top to bottom and get a full service, all in 8 days. If they get it right, she won't be back for at least 2 years. As Tom's keen to point out, not everyone could do this job.
There's more than just painters, you know what I mean? We're marine anti-corrosion technicians, we are. Well, painters basically.
The marine slime isn't the only thing feeling the pressure. The cleaning team knows this job must be finished on time. Back in Liverpool, it's the final day in dry dock for MV Norbank, the P&O ferry having a super-sized wash and brush up. She's looking a lot smarter than when she docked 8 days ago. But she's not quite finished. Although most of the paint will last another 2 years, some damaged sections must be replaced. But they ran into a problem. Here's ship manager Tony Scaife.
We're just putting the finishing touches to the anti-fouling paint on the hull here. We were short of paint this morning, a couple of jumps short. That's now arrived in the yard, and so we're applying that. We should be finished today, and we'll be clear of the dock then.
It's not just the hull that needs cleaning. Even the giant ship's propellers get crusted in marine growth.
We bring a specialist subcontractor, and they specialise in polishing the propellers. On the main propellers, they get a good fuel saving as well. If the propellers are working properly, everything's clean, they get a fuel saving.
Because they've been worked on, the propellers need to be dry tested before the ship's allowed back in the water. To help the Norbank manoeuvre, the huge blades can swivel to generate reverse thrust. They seem to be moving fine. It's been a huge job.
Working on these ships is a massive job. Got the paint just for this paint job this time around. It's only a touch-up job, but we've used up to 1,700 litres of paint this time.
With the dock due to be flooded, ship manager Tony Scaife and technical manager Hans Pronk are checking that everything will be ready and likely to pass the final inspection.
Okay, Hans, so the cleaning of the hull's gone quite well. We've prepped all the mechanical damage to the paint, and we've touched up where we need to. That should buy us another 2 years, ready for your next dry docking.
Yes, yes.
During this 2-week dry docking, we've done the cleaning and the painting of pretty much the whole ship. That's the underwater area, the blue sides that you can see, and also the white top sides.
The MV Norbank is fit for another 2 years' hard work in the Irish Sea. One super-sized ship has been cleaned of grime. Paul and Andy are on one of the biggest, longest, most expensive and most difficult clean-up jobs in the world. They have to get rid of this, the Dungeness A nuclear power station. The job? Remove over 500 tons of spent fuel in 54,000 fuel rods. The problem? It's radioactive. Handling could give you radiation sickness. If it isn't kept underwater, it will overheat or even catch fire. This is the world's most frightening grime, and it'll stay that way for decades. Job 1. Get the fuel rods out of the reactor.
This is one of the actual fuel rods. Obviously this one's a dummy and is empty. There's 27,000 of these in each reactor. We have 2 reactors.
Fuel rod facts. Inside, 10 kilos of radioactive uranium. Job: to make heat, which makes steam, which makes electricity. Problem: after years in the reactor, spent fuel is hot, radioactive, and potentially toxic.
We need to remove those from the reactor core and eventually send them off to Sellafield.
If Andy and Paul seem relaxed about handling hot radioactive fuel rods, that's because they don't plan to get very close to them. But if they are exposed to radiation, they need to know about it.
Right, this is a electronic personal dose meter, and it just measures what radiation dose we get.
There is a possibility you might pick up a bit of contamination.
Contamination could be radioactive dust. If it's there, the boots and suits make sure it never gets out.
The barrier marks the contamination controlled area, which is, we class it as the dirty side. So we're ready to go into the dirty side now.
Well, we've all crossed over to the dirty side at one time or another. For Andy and Paul, the serious part of their day is about to begin. They're going to open up the reactor. When it shut down in 2006, Dungeness A was Britain's longest-running nuclear power station. Andy and Paul are about to open up the reactor and remove the highly radioactive uranium fuel.
Okay, so what we're doing now is we're lifting up a slab, and it's 2 foot thick concrete, and that really, it's our kind of last bit of shielding before we get to the reactor.
Under their feet is the steel reactor vessel, containing 200 tons of uranium. Today, Andy's drawn the short straw and gets to stand on top of a nuclear reactor.
This is the standpipe assembly. This is where we actually go in to actually pull out the irradiated fuel.
Of course, they're not literally going to go in and pull out the fuel. The fuel is handled by the charge machine, a robot crane that will pull out the rod and then drop it down a chute into the storage pond. Storage pond facts. Job: to cool fuel rods and shield operators from radiation. In the tsunami-hit Fukushima reactors in Japan, the big fear was ponds boiling dry and fuel rods catching fire, melting or exploding.
Yeah, it was about 10 years ago when I first came down here, and it was a bit unnerving at first. There's very little dose down here now, so actually there's quite a nice breeze down here, so it's quite cool.
When the reactor was running before 2006, it was anything but cool.
Before, we used to be, if you had to go up to the top of the charge machine, you're in the 40s. That's how warm it was when it was running.
Andy's preparing the reactor to receive the charge machine.
Okay, down you go.
They've done this thousands of times, and every time it's slow and careful. But steady on, something's about to happen.
This is the exciting bit now, because the charge machine, which we're going to bring over, put on top, is actually going to become part of the reactor. Once that's part of the reactor, then we can start to pull out the irradiated fuel.
The spent rods have been inside the heavily shielded reactor vessel. They're about to come out. Back at Dungeness, the huge job of decommissioning the nuclear power station has reached a critical point. Andy and Paul are about to lift spent fuel from the core of the reactor. Packaged inside metal rods, the fuel is radioactive and toxic and has to be handled with care. A remote control grab lifts fuel rods from inside the reactor. Andy checks all's well by video link.
So we're now coming up to the viewing zone, and here we've got the jaws that are attached, and this is the first time we see the actual fuel element, and this is part of the spider, and you can see the actual fins now of the fuel element.
Then they're dropped down chutes into the storage ponds. 20 foot of water keeps the rods cool and shields the workers. Spent fuel rods are more radioactive than fresh ones. From now on, all operations are underwater.
As we're now discharging the fuel down, and everything is recorded.
Next job, move the rod to a storage skip. The fuel's going to leave the building in flasks, but they're not the sort you'd use to keep your tea warm. Each flask weighs 50 tons, made of 14-inch thick steel. It's watertight, airtight, and it's been designed to survive an 80-mile-an-hour train crash. And to prove it, in 1984, they did just that. Crashed a train at over 80 miles an hour into a nuclear flask laying on the track, with its most vulnerable parts exposed. The flask survived without spilling its contents. The train didn't. The flask takes a shower. By soaking the paint with clean water, it won't absorb contaminated water from the pond.
We're lowering the flask down into the flask loading bay. Then here take the flask right down to the bottom of the ponds. It's slightly caustic. I mean, you wouldn't want to go swimming in it, that's for sure.
You wouldn't want to go swimming because A, at the bottom of the pond are a load of radioactive fuel rods, and B, the water is caustic to stop the fuel rods corroding. If that happens, radioactive sludge would form and build up on the bottom of the pond. And that's hard to get rid of. The Dungeness ponds are very clean, but that doesn't mean they're completely safe.
Obviously the water's contaminated and there is a certain amount of radiation coming off from the ponds, but it's still well within safety limits.
Finally, Paul lifts a skip of used fuel rods into the flask.
Everything's got a number, so we know where everything is, and that's the most important thing. That's perfect, right in the middle.
This is another 166 elements. We've got rid of 27,000 so far, and so 27,000 to go.
Safely behind 14 inches of steel, the rods are about to make a journey. A 400-mile cross-country trip by truck and train. At Dungeness, the 50-ton flask of radioactive fuel rods is filled, sealed and tested. It's about to take a truck and train ride nearly 400 miles for reprocessing and storage. Here comes the transport. In charge of the truck are sisters Rebecca and Sarah Coleman.
Stay on the shotgun. Rebecca here's the driver, and it's basically just our responsibility to get the flask from site to the railhead and back again.
You concentrate as much as you can with any load and you just get on with it. And
I don't give it a second thought really. I mean, it's no different to driving my car really.
Which means she must drive her car very slowly and carefully. It'd be embarrassing if something as simple as a flat tyre stopped the nuclear truck.
just checking our air valves, tanks, making sure there's no gunk or anything in there.
Right, this is the final check before it goes out. It's a reassurance monitoring check. I'm just rubbing over pretty much all the accessible areas of the flask I can get to.
And that basically is a 100% tacky swab checks.
A tacky swab is a sticky cloth that picks up any contaminated particles on the outside of the flask.
As long as that comes up as a clean check, that's his lot then, and that's our last check.
This one's clean and good to go. It's just a short drive to the private railway station. Then it's off to Sellafield, where some of the fuel will be reused. The waste will be placed deep underground. It could be there for thousands of years. When all the fuel's gone, the reactor will be sealed up for 50 years until it's safe enough for demolition to start. They'll remove the last brick in over 80 years' time. It's scheduled for the year 2098.